Hi everyone, and welcome to another of my videos about the crew and the alcohol on the cruise ships. Yeah, so before we begin, what's the content? So basically, yeah, you are a crew member, you are on a cruise ship, so I just want to cover the things, well, where you get alcohol, how much you can drink, what you can drink, what you cannot drink, when you should not drink, and all the other things. And yeah, I hopefully you find it useful, because these things are not really all that much discussed, or I wouldn't even actually know many things in my contracts or something. Shortly about me and my relevance. So I work for 4 cruise ships, and I know some stories about other cruise lines, and I read something more information and everything. So that's before we begin. Okay, let's start and let's check it out what it's all about. So the crew members on the ship, so who comes up with the rules? Mainly it's International Maritime Organization, which is under United Nations, and it controls, like, it's this non-profit organization, and it has some departments of it that comes up with the rules, and then they put it up for the discussion, and they put it up for acceptance. So basically these rules are very popular, and lots of the countries who actually don't have access to the sea, they still actually agree with it, and pretty much everything, all the rules are admitted by the country. So yeah, of course, Commonwealth of Bahamas, lots of ships are registered in Bahamas, especially cruise ships. So if they agree with it, so they put it all on the ships and everything, that they actually have the flag behind it. Of course, if the ship goes in territorial waters of United States, so they need to actually adhere to their rules as well. But basically, it's actually a cruise line who actually says these rules, and they set it up. Let's say IMO allows you 2 drinks per hour or something, or in 24 hours. Cruise line, or mostly actually the ships that actually transfer cargo, they actually have a zero alcohol policy, so you're actually not allowed on board, and you're not allowed to drink at any given time. Cruise lines are not so bad, so let's just say, but still, really, what the rules are, that comes from cruise line, and this chain kind of follows each other. But basically what it is, and even the ship is on a different flag, it's still going to have the same rules, because lots of countries, as I mentioned, they agree with International Maritime Organization. So where are you going to actually find the rules? In a contract, no. Actually, the cruise lines, for the crew, they don't issue the contracts. They issue assignment letter, which basically has your name, which ship you're going to be joining, which port you're going to be joining, when your contract starts, and that's it. There's no more information on that, so it's not written, these rules, in a contract. You might want to find it on the internet. Yeah, International Maritime Organization rules, you're gonna find them, but they're not really specific for, like, I don't know, for receptionist on a ship or something. It's like general rules, and the countries don't really actually put them on the internet. I did my research, and cruise lines don't have it. Some cruise lines have actually rules for the guests who are on the ship, because they can't endanger themselves or any other passenger or a crew member if you're on a ship, because it's safety risk. So there are rules for the people who actually are on a ship on a holiday as well. But for the crew, you actually don't see them. It's kind of beneficial, because you actually get everything on training. So these trainings can change, and you do the training of it. What's the story with the training then? Where are you gonna hear about it? So this is one of the many trainings. So in about 2 weeks, you need to do the safety training. You need to do other trainings. Maybe there is like hygiene training for the people who work with the food and beverages. And yeah, this is the training that's actually for the house rules, like, pretty much. And every big company like has it. If you worked on land and you worked for the big hotel chain or maybe something else, they're gonna have these trainings. It is kind of let's say, so the training's going to take probably on the first day or one of the first days, and it's very short. It's basically what's discussed there. It's about these no tolerance rules, like, you shall not fight, you shall not use drugs, you shall not steal, and of course you should not be drinking while you're working, and all these things. So that's mainly it. What happens at the end of it? So this training is really just you put your signature on it, that you were in training, you agree with all the rules and everything. That's pretty much all there is. Other trainings, like safety trainings, they do come with a test, so you need to pass the test actually to get forward. And this training you don't. So as I mentioned, it's kind of like no tolerance, zero tolerance rules that are discussed there, and but they don't discuss everything. That's why I'm making this video. And I actually was on a ship on a couple of cruise lines, and after a couple of years I didn't even know some of the rules that actually I'm allowed to do and some are not allowed to do. Good news. So what's allowed? Okay, so what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to go to cruise ship, buy drinks and take them to your cabin. So there's cruise ships, of course they're on the level where the crew's living. There should be usually I have like bottles of wine or beers you can buy and you can take them to your cabin. And some of the other ones actually have more than that, like spirits. You can bottle of whiskey you can buy, or a gin, or bottle of rum, and it's actually sold to the crew and you can take it. But not all of these ships sell that. That's why I'm gonna mention it's mostly beer and wine, to be honest, and maybe like washing powder and all these things, toothbrushes. So you are allowed to bring on board 2 bottles of wine or champagne or 6 bottles of beer at every port. Yeah, this is actually main common rule in between the cruise lines for the crew. You can go outside, you can buy some bottles of wine or champagne. Some might actually say it's only 1 bottle. Most of them will say it's 2 bottles. Some of them actually had cut that. You can only buy stuff on a ship. Because they actually want your money, so that's how it is. Or 6 bottles of beer in every port. So basically you go out, you get 6 beers, you take them with you, that's fine. Most of the companies, as I mentioned, exceptions, yeah, there is. So Royal Caribbean prohibited that, so they say they only can sell to the crew and the crew buys from them, so they make money. But in a Disney Cruise Line, on a Yachts of Seabourn, or on a Carnival, it's never been a problem, to be honest. So Carnival is like one cruise line from, they have big corporation, they have like 8 brands, so all these other 8 cruise lines you can actually bring this stuff on board. You can check it with the crew office or with your colleague actually who's been with the company for more than that. Yeah, of course you get free drinks in a party, so there could be parties like small ones like wine tasting, or maybe there was like, I don't know, whatever there is, something, and there can be a big crew parties as well, like on Independence Day of one country, or maybe there's a big party like every month or something, and there could be smaller ones like wine tastings and everything. Sometimes you like buy for the most expensive wines and the other ones just don't. So, but you still get the free drinks, and it's also beer and wine. Actually, almost every time. So you are allowed to go to crew bar, order drinks and consume them. Yeah, there's a crew bar. Some open earlier, some are late, and it's mostly evening, and it's also like till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, not later than that. You can also get in officers bar. So of course there's officers 1 stripe, 2 stripe, 3, even 4 stripe officers. You can't get an officers bar if you're not 1 stripe or more. But the officers can invite you, and they can invite like 2 crew members. These bars are pretty cool, like they're better, like they look really nice. They have like PlayStation 5 in there or something. They have more variety of drinks. There's still a discounted price, and you're not paying of the guest price, and it's like a crew bar, the same thing. But lots of companies don't really use them anymore. There was a crew bar, and it was turned into like the officers bar. This was turned to the crew bar because they didn't hang out there, because the big officers would go just in the guest bars and get the drinks there, sit at the back of the restaurant or something. And even if you like the only like 3-star officer, you can actually go to the restaurant where they have the drinks and everything. You're not even allowed there. It's like in the small ships, like very luxurious ships, because there's no bars like the people can go there. So you need to check these rules. So even if you have access, like in Disney Cruise Line, you can go in public places and everything. You can make a reservation for the restaurant if you like there. But if you're not 3-star officer, you cannot do it. Let's say in like Carnival Cruise Line, you're 1-star officer, you can just go there and get the drinks, whatever you like. So that's why it says you can go to a guest bar and have a drink. So it can change with you in cruise line, but sure, how big is your rank, how much you can get. Some are more relaxed, some are not. So that's why the crew bar rules. So this is where you can go. You are allowed to take the drinks purchased in the crew bar to your cabin, but only the ones that are sealed off. Correct. So you can't order pina colada and just take the glass in your cabin. But you can take, like, I don't know, 10 bottles of beer if you like, or 2 bottles of wine with you. That you can take to your cabin. There's no problem. You just buy it there. What's the other crew bar? Okay, you are not allowed to take your own drinks to crew bar. Okay, that's understandable. No bar is gonna allow that. Okay, the maximum limit of liquor that is allowed per drink is 2 shots or 3 ounces. That's on a land as well. You can only put like 2 shots in a drink. It's like a double vodka Red Bull. You can't do the triple vodka Red Bull. Like, I worked in a bar that only happened really one, like 6-7 years. That guy said like triple vodka and Red Bull. I just gave him double vodka Red Bull and a shot of vodka on the side. So whatever you do later on, it's up to you. Only make cocktails, so also in cocktails you need to be careful. You need to know the dosage and everything. So you can't go over 3 ounces. Like, you have a spirit and you have a vermouth, and then you have like some juice and something else in the middle. You still need to be under that. So that's a common rule. There's nothing new. Crew are limited to purchasing 2 alcoholic beverages per individual per order at a time. Yeah, this is like a rule. I'm gonna come later on where is it coming, but I never had a problem. In none of these 4 cruise lines, one guy would just go and buy a round of drinks, and that's already, you are a group of 5 people, so you order 5 drinks, and nobody really pays attention to this. This is kind of rule. Nobody follows it. And then there was like there was MSC, like Italian cruise line, like they said that only 2 drinks, and I had this offer, like I texted my guy, hey man, you're with MSC now, what's the story, can I only have like 2 drinks? He said, no, nobody cares, like you can buy as many you like. That's the rule, yeah, everybody knows it, but nobody follows it. So that's about the crew bottles. So what's not allowed? So we're gonna kind of cover the same things, but go further as well. So there's more rules. So what are you not allowed to do? You're not allowed to consume alcoholic beverages on board if you're under 21. So this is the drinking age. I know in Europe we don't have this. This is specific to United States, but lots of companies have this rule, and they don't want to mess it up because like most of the ships are actually in Caribbean and go from American ports. So you can have like different nationalities, and like there's 18-year-old kids from Europe are hanging out and drinking, and 21 years old don't actually have. And this is also for the crew. So yes, there's people younger than 18 years. Like they usually walk with the children activities like children clubs. Different ages, of course, different groups, up till 18 and everything. So they can't drink. So if they're not 21, so even if you work on a cruise ship, you're still 21 age. So if you like a drink, like me, I'm from Europe, and I used to drink from 18, even before that. So you're gonna be spoiled, and it's very strict. So this is also a non-tolerance rule. You're not allowed to drink if you're not allowed to drink or get in a fight or something. Okay, going ahead. More rules. You are not allowed to be intoxicated while on duty. Okay, that's understandable. So you can't be drunk when you're working. You are not allowed to use alcoholic drinks while on duty. So yeah, well, you're not allowed to have a drink. This is zero tolerance as well, the same as on being intoxicated on duty. And exceptions like really only entertainers, and not in all the companies. They could go like pre-cocktail drinks before dinner. So they could go there, socialize, get the drinks, sit with the guests. They also order cocktails. I've seen it, I've done it, I've served them, I've been bartender as well. This is the only exception I really know. Oh yeah, there's like these official officers introducing shows, like you have all the department heads, like receptionist, boss, you have a restaurant boss, and they all have a glass of champagne and toast and everything on a good cruise. You have a glass of champagne on the stage, but that's it, guys. That's it. You're not allowed to drink on duty. You're not allowed to consume alcoholic beverage 4 hours before duty. Correct, this is the rule. 4 hours before duty, going on duty, you're not allowed to actually have a drink. Airline cabin crew, Airline, yeah, it's very much strict after 9/11. There's lots of airlines, and they put actually limit 8 hours before the duty. They're not allowed to have a drink. And it goes even further. On the cruise ships, it doesn't happen, but there's already criminal cases about the guys who actually been seen like sipping away like a shot of from these small bottles, like, and they walk on an airline and they drink it, and this is actually, they can charge you like with a criminal case, endangering people. And this is crazy, but on cruise ships it doesn't happen now, I'm telling you for sure. Just reading through the lines, whatever that comes in the news. Okay, moving further. There's you are not allowed to go to certain guest bars and are not allowed to sit at the bar counter. So the carnival was really relaxed, but I still wasn't allowed to sit at the bar counter. Yeah, so one of my girlfriends came, my girlfriend came on the ship, she was a guest, I was a crew, I sit at the bar, bar manager came to me and said, okay, well, later on, I said, hey, you were sitting at the bar, you shouldn't be doing, but since you're sitting with somebody else, and they are guests, so I didn't say anything. So, certain bars, like, yeah, there was like, we are allowed to do it, and there were these champagne bars on a really big Royal Caribbean ship. I just didn't want to have like crew in one of the most posh bars and in the most public places, like, you know, you have a promenade, there's this main log sort of a walkway for the people, like you have shops and reception and everything, and then you have a big group of officers hanging out and getting hammered drunk, like, you know. So you need to check it out, you can't go in every bar, even if you're officer or a big officer, so you need to check that with your colleagues or with the crew office. You are not allowed to have a bottle of spirits in your cabin. This is very specific to the small cruise line, the luxurious one, because on a cruise lines you can actually order a bottle of spirit as a guest, and when you go in the cabin there's a bottle of gin or something you ordered, which is a cool thing, you know, because you need to pay for all the other drinks. There's no other way. You can't take anything. Oh yeah, you can. This was the same. On bottle of wine, 2 bottles of wine or something like that. No beers or anything. Bottle of champagne. Also for the guests. And the problem was, because these people actually were getting on a really luxurious cruise and in the small cruise ships that I used to, they used to have like a bottle of white red wine, like 6 beers, a bottle of whiskey, bottle of gin, bottle of rum. So they had lots of spirits and everything, and the drinks were included. You only paid like for more very expensive things, and the cocktails were included and everything. So what happened is these guests didn't drink it, or they opened the bottle, they had 2 sips of it, made a drink, and they leave after a week, and they have like these 2-3 bottles of spirit. So we were helping ourselves to take them to our cabins and drink them. So it was a really big problem, because the people were just getting out of control. Even the cabin girls that were cleaning rooms, they would just sit in there, pour a little bit of drink from the big bottles and just sipping away. And we were actually discarding these bottles, because we were putting the bottles in, as a bartender, bar waiter, we were putting this in a cabin. So everything else that was open, that went down the drain. So this is a very specific rule. You might not have it. And on a Disney you can't get the spirits. You couldn't get it at all. You could have it to drink in a bar, but you couldn't actually buy a bottle and take it to the cabin. So it wasn't possible. And the other ones that were possible, that's, yeah, different story. So you are not allowed to go to guest tax-free shop, buy and take alcoholic beverage from there to your cabin. In a carnival, this wasn't a problem. You can actually go to the shop, you can get a bottle cost you, and with a discount, it would cost you like $8-9, a big bottle, 1 liter bottle of rum, which I used to have in the cabin. Then I just decided I needed to throw it out, because I had so many and I had so much to drink and everything. On a Disney, you can go to the tax-free shop, and you can go like 2-3 weeks before going home, and you can purchase it, and then on the day leaving, crew office is going to give it to you. You can take it back home with you. On Royal Caribbean, we could go to the shop, cruise shop, and just get the bottles of spirits there as well. On Disney, we couldn't do it. So, and on the tax-free shops, you know, the guest itself, they can buy spirits as like many bottles, like tax-free and everything, but they only get it on the last day of the cruise. So they want the guests to drink there, and they want like a crew drink there as well. So it might be an option on very relaxed cruise line, but mostly it's not possible. So I'm just mentioning. So yeah, and this spirit bottle, even if you get it, and when I used to have it in Carnival, you can't take it to the bar. That's why those are the rules, okay? So this is about not to do, but there's some awkward things, and just want to mention it now. That's what we're going to go further. So watch out the things that actually can cross you. You're not allowed to have more than 2 drinks in 1 hour or in 24-hour period. So this is the actual rule. This is actual rule, and this is on many ships, and this is an actual rule. So basically it says goes further. There's random testing, I mentioned that, but when your blood alcohol is back is 0.08 or higher, you're considered illegal impaired in US according conventional wisdom. Your back BAC level will remain with safe unit if you consume only 1 standard drink per hour. So this is exactly the same thing what people are not allowed to do before driving a car. So 1 drink you can tolerate, 2 you cannot tolerate, and actually this is the rule, then you are impaired. So so it goes a little bit further. That means 20 ounces of beer, like it's half a liter beer or something. So 1 ounce is 30 milliliters, or a 5 ounces glass of wine. So that's 30 times 5, that's 150 milliliters, or 1 ounce, 1.5, that's 30 milliliters and a half. That's about 50 milliliters of spirit. Distilled spirits, like, like gin, vodka or something. So this is exactly the same thing as on a car. You're not allowed to drive. You can handle 1 drink, but if you're having 2 drinks, your bodies cannot get rid of the alcohol, even you eaten or I don't know, something. It also comes like we're gonna have 5 beers. So 1 beer is 2 units. So your body can get rid of the 2 units per hour or something. So if you have like 10, like 5-6 hours, you're gonna sleep it off and everything's gonna be fine. No, the problem is here. So you are impaired and you're not going to be able to do your duties. The safety problem duties you can come up. Maybe you're not driving a ship, or you're not going to be on a watch. This is for navigation. You're still going to be impaired, and even on your free time you need to be ready to answer these things. So if you have like 2 drinks, these guys can sack you and send you home. But nobody really follows that, except the ships that are American flag. Not very companies have American flag cruise lines, and that's very strict imposed there. There's like NCL only has 1 ship for many ships. Other companies don't actually have a single cruise line ship. They have offices in Miami and everything, but if you see the flag at the back and it's from Bahamas or Panama or somewhere else, Malta, they're not going to impose it. They literally can fire everyone that's on the ship. The MSC, as I mentioned, they offered me a job, and I know my guy was doing there, and I kind of read it's very strict, and you have only 2 drinks, like in the evening, and not more than an hour. And I texted straight away my guy who I worked with. He worked for the MC. He's like, what's the story? Nah, they don't really care about it. That's the rule. Yeah, everybody knows that. Neither bartender is not going to refuse you a drink. Neither there's going to be random testing does happen. But they usually say, okay, random testing is going to happen. They're going to send an email to your boss, all the departments, head of the department, and say, oh, Bruno, you need to go. I need to be tested. So it's a quick test and everything. Yeah, don't be hangover or very bad, and they usually test for drugs, mostly. But being drunk, you are totally done as well. And as I mentioned, you watch out, but they don't follow these rules. Okay, moving further. Do not have a drink in a bar on board before a shift. This is actually what I did. Totally idiot. I finished my shift. I had I got a split shift, so I had 4 hours in between. I went to the gym, I went to the sauna, I took a decent shower, and I said, I have so much time. I had a cigarette, I went to the bar, and I was like, okay, vodka cranberry. So I had a drink, and I actually saw the assistant manager passing, my boss, and of course this is cash free. It's like you have your onboard account, so you need to pay in, and you pay with a plastic card, like a credit card, like onboard card, like the guests, and they can see if you bought a drink or not and what's a drink. even the bosses don't actually have access. It's more crew office or human resources have it. We used to have it in other companies, so you can actually see what the guys are spending the money on, where they're from, how old they are, and everything. So I think she called the crew office and said, "What's the story? What is this guy having now?" And they said, "Vodka cranberry." And I was like, "Oh, damn it!" So in the morning, I was in assistant manager's boss, and he was like, "No, don't be silly, man. We can check this. And what happens if the guest says you're drunk? So we're gonna take you. You're gonna be breathalyzed. And if you have this drink, you're done, man. You're going home, losing job just like that. Just don't do it." So I got away with it. Do not call in sick. This is the thing as well. So if you are sick, they're gonna tell you to go to the medical center, and if they're gonna find out your hangover or everything, so of course you can say, "Oh, I'm very sick and everything and all this." It's like, "Can you not walk? You need to still show up." So if they're gonna be suspicious you stink of alcohol or something, you're gonna be breathalyzed and you need to go to work. And that's the same thing as not being on duty, but still already you can't do your job because you're actually hangover from yesterday. And what happened is the guy, like my colleague, he was about to show up, and he had the evening off, it was like half a day off, and he was like, do some morning shift, and the guy wasn't there. I was like, "Where is this guy?" And the assistant manager next to me is like, "Can you imagine, this guy had a party, I was in the party as well, and now he's calling in sick." So I told him to go to medical center, otherwise I'm gonna kick his buttocks. So yeah, don't be smart about it. You can still fall in sick. You can manage. It's mostly the salmonella. Maybe you say like you puked or something, you have diarrhea. That's very serious because you need to be isolated. But I don't know if you want like 2 or 3 days in a cabin or something, but you still need to go to medical center. Knowing and not reporting, also supervisors. As I mentioned, that was this one moment when they caught me in a bar, and it can get worse than that. So there was this guy who was actually under 21, and he was not supposed to drink. As I mentioned, that's the rule. And he joined another 2 guys in a bar, and it was like Christmas or New Year, so very festive, and that was alcoholic beverage. I think he even had a bottle of something, like bottle of wine or something. And the thing was, somebody saw them and he said, "Okay, what's going on? This guy is there, like, and he's definitely having an alcoholic beverage." So that got known, and I think they checked the cameras and everything. So the thing was, if he's sitting with these 2 other guys and they knew he was drinking, so, and they didn't report it, so it was straight away a cover-up. So even these 2 guys got sacked, and even this guy gets sacked. So it's the same as the supervisor. If they catch you with the drink, they need to report it, man. If they don't do it, they're gonna be in trouble as well. They're gonna be really in trouble, because that's a duty to supervise the people. So yeah, so you do need to report it. But I got away. My assistant manager called me in a switchboard. It's like, where you answer telephones, like in deck -1 or something. And I was very smart, and I put like a beer in a paper cup, coffee cup. I was drinking it. Of course, she smelled it, said, "Bruno, that's not coffee." And I was like, "Oh yeah, but you didn't see it." She's like, "Well, no, I did see it, man. But you're getting this time off. If I'm coming back and I'm gonna see it again, well, then you're gonna be in trouble. So watch out for it." It's not like you're gonna have to be a snitch, but it's a safety feature. Like, you need to be on duty all the time, and you do have safety. So maybe you're not like an officer. You don't navigate a ship and everything, but there's the guest control. So you need to be sure that the guests get in lifeboats or something in emergency, or you need to control them, or even like stairwell guides. You study at the stairs and you say, "Guests, you need to go there. You need to go there. This lifeboat is yours," and everything. So it's very, very strict. Right, cut from drinking by the staff captain for falling down the stairs. Yeah, that's happened to me. I was on a free time, and I didn't come on a duty like 8, 9 or 10 hours. I was totally drunk. I fell down the stairs, I hit my head, and for some stupid reason I didn't go to cabin. I went back to the bar, and somebody just found me, one of my colleagues. And then they put me like in the medical and said like, "Well, you really hit your head, bro. You really have." They stitched me up, and yeah, don't refuse to be breathalyzed. So basically what happened is, everybody saw me in a bar. Everybody knew I was drunk, and everybody knew I hit my head and everything. So I endangered myself and nobody else really. but and they was like, okay, we're gonna breathalyze you. And then the human resources manager was there. I was like, oh no. I was like, no, don't breathalyze me, everything's fine, I'll sleep it off and everything. And she was like, Bruno, don't do it. If you don't agree to be breathalyzed, you're going against the security policy. We are suspicious you're alcohol and you're refusing it, and this is automatic dismissal. Take the test. So I did take the test, because if I would have refused, the human resource manager said, yeah, this is security feature, so you're going against the securities, it's not a good idea. So that's why. Don't try to talk yourself out of trouble. Yeah, if you're caught, you're caught, man. This is zero tolerance. They're not gonna tell you something straight away, but they're gonna check it. They might ask you for the interview, and they're gonna ask you if you did it or not. But it's a report, and it's a report, and sometimes it goes against the supervisors or managers' word. Man, you're gonna be sent home. They're not gonna say you're like sacked. They're gonna knock you in like 3 days when you're gonna be in home porn. They knock you on the door, say 7. Okay, sorry, bro, you've been sacked since that day. And they usually don't tell you in advance. There should be like, I don't know, if there's a problem like you didn't show up like 6 minutes late, and then in 6 months, and then the other time you were 5 minutes late, and if you do it 3 times, then you might get away with it, because captain is going to review. That's the full warning. So you use 1, 2, 3 warnings, you're out. So basically for different things. So yeah, so there's nothing you can think about it. They're gonna let you go. Yeah, and the last thing. So the most common reason, crew is fired from the sent home. So there's lots of things. I hear lots of stories, and they're gonna tell you stories and everything. But this is the very easy thing to actually do, and this happens. As I tell you, you just need 2 drinks and you can be literally home. Or there's need to see you have 2 drinks before you're coming back, and you all go on a beach and have a drink. So we were like having this party, and on the morning where the switchboard is, where the phone central is, so behind the desks, behind the reception. So we were having a blast. Okay, we had the drink, we just slept 2 hours, 3 hours, and then the girl next to us, and she worked in the crew office, because reception works sometimes in crew office on that company, and she was like, guys, shut up. You guys are so loud. You already said you've been drinking, you're still drunk, you just came on duty. And crew office, if there's a people need to be sent back home, they prepare the papers and passports and everything, so they know what's the reason and why. And she said, this is how the bosses who doesn't like you get rid of you. And this is one of the most common things. If you're not liked or something, and they can't cover up, or they don't want to cover up, because the thing is, what is going to happen if they're not going to send you home? What's going to happen next is like somebody else is going to get in trouble. They had a drink, like glass of wine in a pantry, like behind a restaurant, and he was like, yeah, but you didn't send Bruno back home, where are you sending back me home? So it's very strict, guys. You really watch out, and it's one of the biggest reasons, and I know exact people who've been sacked for this. Okay, well, I hope it's actually clarifies some things and everything, and all these funny stories that happen as well. You do need to check out with your colleagues, and lots of cruise lines are different, so the things you can do, and the other ones are more relaxed, the other ones are more strict. Check with your colleagues, crew office, everything, even these parties like wine tasting and everything, wine and cheese night. That's also like crew activities. There is like a schedule for the parties and everything. So all these things, it's not that boring. You can still have a drink. Sometimes you can bring something on board, like I did in Russia. We were there in the ship. I took some cool wines when we had it in a crew bar, which I shouldn't be doing as well. I could take them on board. The girls were happy. They tried the new wines and all this. You should go have a shot of tequila if you're in Mexico. And you know, you do all these things. So a shot of vodka if you're in Russian, have Russian vodka. So don't hesitate, but be smart about it. And yeah, well guys, thank you so much. I hope this explained lots of things. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.